Hello and welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm going to be sharing 3 of my favourite healthy recipes, starting with an aubergine and sweet potato curry. Firstly, you'll want to preheat your oven to 200 degrees. Then you want to peel and chop your sweet potato into small chunks. You don't want to make them too big or they're going to take a really long time to cook in the oven. I'm using the orange flesh sweet potatoes rather than the ones that you sometimes see with the white flesh. Then I'm drizzling over around 1 tablespoon of garlic olive oil and sprinkling over some salt and pepper before it goes into the oven. You need to bake it for around 20 to 25 minutes until the sweet potatoes are soft and golden brown on the outside. Then I'm chopping 1 aubergine into small bite-sized chunks. I didn't add onions and garlic this time, but at this stage you'd want to add around half a red onion and 3 cloves of garlic if you're using it, along with the oil, and cook them until they're soft. Then add 1 tablespoon of ginger, 1 tablespoon of curry powder, 1 tablespoon of garam masala, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of coriander, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, and half a teaspoon of chilli flakes. Cook for a few minutes to toast the spices so they become nice and fragrant. Then add in the aubergine, which you chopped earlier, and mix to combine. Then I'm adding in the roasted sweet potato, and then a can of chickpeas which has been drained and rinsed to remove the liquid that they're in. Then stir everything together to combine, and then add in a tin of chopped tomatoes, and also add in a tin of coconut milk to make it nice and creamy. Then again, just mix everything together, and once it's combined, you're going to want to let it simmer for around 45 minutes to 1 hour until everything is nice and soft. You'll want to stir every little while to make sure nothing gets stuck to the bottom of the pan, and once it's done it should look like this. And you can add in a couple handfuls of spinach and then mix that in and let it wilt. And then once that's wilted down and combined nicely, I like to sprinkle over a little bit of chopped coriander and sprinkle over some chilli flakes, and also add a little bit of extra coconut cream on top. I'm serving mine with brown rice, but you could do white rice or quinoa. It's really up to you. This is a really great recipe to meal prep and have in the fridge or freezer for really quick lunches or dinners. And you could also switch out the sweet potato, aubergine or chickpeas for whatever you have on hand. The next recipe I wanted to share is a harissa shakshuka, and this has been a favourite for a really long time. So first start off by chopping a red pepper into little pieces. I first start off by chopping it into strips and then chop those strips into tiny little cubes. Then I'm going to add it to a pan with some oil. You can also add onion and garlic at this stage, around half an onion and a couple cloves of garlic, but I didn't this time. And just cook everything for a few minutes until it's nice and soft. Then I'm adding in a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and 2 tablespoons of harissa paste. And then just mix everything together and cook for a few minutes until it's nice and fragrant. Then I'm adding in a tin of chopped tomatoes, and again mixing everything together and cooking for around 10 to 15 minutes until it thickens slightly. Just remember to come back and stir it every little while so it doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the pan. Then I'm making some holes to crack the eggs into. I'm using 6 eggs, but you can really change it up depending on how many people you're making it for. I'm also planning on sharing a vegan version of this recipe, made with tofu or chickpeas, but I'm still working on the recipe for that. Then on top of the eggs that I've cracked into the pan, I'm adding a sprinkle of chili flakes and a sprinkle of salt and pepper. and then cook with a lid on until the whites of the eggs are set and the yolks are still runny, and then I serve mine with a little bit of chopped coriander on top. Final recipe I'm sharing is roasted veggie gnocchi, and I'm really sorry the lighting in this definitely is not perfect. That's the problem with filming and taking photos in the winter. So first I'm chopping an aubergine into small chunks. I find it easiest to chop it into little discs and then chop those into 4 pieces. And then I'm chopping a red pepper into strips and then adding that to the same pot as the aubergine. I'm also adding in 4 large tomatoes, and all you need to do is chop those into 4 and then chop those pieces in half. Just try and make sure you get everything to an even size so it cooks nice and evenly in the oven. Then I'm adding a drizzle of garlic olive oil and seasoning with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then sprinkling over 2 teaspoons of oregano and half a teaspoon of chilli flakes. And then you just want to mix everything together until the spices and oils are evenly coating them, and then place it in an oven which you preheated to 200 degrees and roast for around 30 minutes until soft, and then cook your gnocchi according to the package directions. Once they're cooked and the vegetables are done, mix the gnocchi into the roasted vegetables and then return to the oven for a further 10 minutes to finish cooking. They should be slightly golden brown. I like to serve mine chopped with some fresh basil leaves and sprinkle over some pine nuts and some extra chili flakes. Again, I find this recipe is a really good one to meal prep to eat for lunch or dinner the next day. I like to heat it up in a pan so the gnocchi get nice and crispy. Thank you for watching, and please remember to subscribe. I'm getting most of you have come from Instagram, and if you make any of my recipes, please make sure to tag me on Instagram so I can see them.